Hello and welcome, and this is another video on translating the Muspilli text. This is Old High German, 9th century Bavarian. We're doing verses 11 to 24. The reason being, I like to carry on in a way that where it ends on a full sentence, right? So we can get a meaning. I wouldn't want to stop on like half a sentence or whatnot, but let's get right into it right now. Let's go. So we have here upi sia afar ki halont die dia dar fona himele quemant. Okay, what is going on here? So upi is if. Hang on, let's make this a little bigger. So we got if sia. I had a little trouble translating this because the personal pronouns in Old High German can be very complex and whatnot. Because sia, depending on what dialect and time period you're looking at, that can mean like the, not the, like it could mean they, as in like the nominative. An accusative, personal pronoun, like for they, whatnot. But in this case, sia here is actually what I believe to be, the second person. Not second person. The accusative singular feminine, like of she. So it's like her. So her, and we got avar, is like. Not avar, afar. So that's like saying yet. Kihalont, that means like to call, to reach, to fetch, to call, to invite. So her, if her yet call. This is in the third person, right? A third person plural. And then we have die. Which is interesting because that is actually through many hours of studying this text, I've come to the conclusion that is a relative relative pronoun. Yeah, because it makes sense. So far what we have is if her yet call they. So in other words, they call they yet call her, if we were to word it that way, but we're doing it very literal here. Then we have the other side of the text, so like they, dar is like there, or can be translated as where from fona himele, that is heaven, come, so. That's how you would translate that. So given that these would be relative pronouns, these would be relative pronouns. This is like saying the, but plural. So, and it's used here like a, personal pronoun, but that's why it's a relative pronoun, because it's referring to the personal pronoun, right? Yeah. So that's what I got from this verse and whatnot. It was quite hard to translate. I mean, the whole thing is hard to translate, but anyway, let's keep on going. That's from the verb to come, and that's you got the word from and heaven and whatnot. And let's keep on going. Okay, so enti sidero angelo eigan virdit. Okay, so we get enti, that's and. Then see here, and even in Old High German, like the forms of the pronouns are not very it's very, I don't know how to word this. It's like not standardized, if you will. So anyway, so we have she. This is interesting. This is in the plural genitive here. These two words. So she, if you will, of the angels. Then we have eigen, eigen wurdet. Eigen, from what I read from my primer of Old High German, that could be two things. it could mean like the verb in the infinitive to own, but it could also very well be the past participle, and it's likely so in this context. So this is like to own or to possess. So possess or possessed, and wurdit from the verb werden. It means become, means to happen, but often in Old High German it means like it's your word you'd likely use to mean like it, like the verb to be, right? So like is possessed or is owned, if you will. So yeah, so she of the, and this is the third person singular. Yeah, so this would make sense with this being the you know, for she in Old High German. It would make sense like that, because if you have like this here being singular but these are plural, like what's going on here, right? So anyway, let's move on. Die pringent Caesar uf in himmelo richi. Yeah, richi. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, so again, we got that die being a relative pronoun for like they. And how do we know this? This is pringent. This is actually a third person plural of like of the verb pringan, which is to bring. Well, yeah, the other variant is bringan, and yeah, so instead of bees you got peas, right? So they bring her. Sar means like at once or immediately. So let's for sake of space, at once. Uf is up. In is into. In this context, yes. It can mean other things too, but I don't want to confuse you guys. And himmelo is plural dative, so heavens. Plural dative. Plural genitive. Sorry. Whoa. Rihi. This is like you could translate this as realm, but like also kingdom as well. But yeah, so like given that this is a Christian text, so Rihi is like how you say today in German, Reich. It's like how you say in well, the cognate in English is rich, or Rick. Well, we don't say, well, in English we don't really say Rick, but but the cognate, yeah. And anyway, moving on. So Rihi means kingdom, realm, and whatnot. So for sake of this, the context of the text, it means realm. So dar ist lieb anno tod, licht anno finstri. Okay, so we got dar, which means there. Yeah, there. Ist is lieb. This is life, cognate to life. Anno, which means it can mean a number of things, but here it means without. Tod, it means death. Then we move on to licht, and that means light. And without finstri, that is darkness. Pretty straightforward. Moving on. Let's move on. Then we got, and then we have, gotta make this larger. Then we have abode without sorrow. Yeah, pardon me, I'll read this out. Cellera anno, excuse me, sorgun, dar, nist, siuch, neomon. So abode without sorrow. There is not, because what this is actually a contraction of what you normally in Old High German it'd be like this, but because there are contractions, it's like that. So there is not. Okay. Well, the thing is, this is actually another contraction. So, yeah, because this here on its own is like saying anyone, but having the negation there, is like not anyone. So there is not sick, not anyone. Okay, well, yeah, I mean that's too literal, because the thing is, in present English that wouldn't make much sense, because a double negative doesn't really work. But in older languages it did make sense, so that emphasized the negativity, right? So there is not any one sick. Yeah, and siuch does mean sick. Siuch, I mean, does yeah. Siuch means sick, yeah, or ill. If you, well, I mean, sick and ill they mean the same thing, right? So anyway, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, denna der man in paradiso pu kiwinnet. So what does it say here? Before I do have to go back for a second. The reference to her and she here is reference, I believe, to the earlier translation, to the soul, because soul, as we learned from the earlier video, that or early in the translation, that soul is a feminine noun. So that's why it says she here and whatnot. So anyway, just want to make that clear. Anyway, so let's carry on. Okay, so denne der man in paradiso pu kiwinnet. So what does this mean? So when the one, or really the man, like der man, is really, but man can also mean like one, as you use it today. And I guess I'm pretty. Whoa, what's going on here? Well, better not to fall asleep on the keyboard. Yeah, man in Old High German. I mean, because thing is, I know in Old English that man, yeah, it means like one, but like you would use it like it in a sort of, in a serious manner, but in today's German, man is like, you know, like you use it like, oh, if one were to do this, but I'm not too sure if that was the same case in Old High German. Maybe not. But anyway, but let's translate. So when the one in paradiso, this is probably from the Latin word paradisium, paradisium, which is like paradise. So when in paradise, pu means abode, so abode, and ki winnit. This is from the verb ki winnan, meaning to win, meaning to conquer, to reach, to attain. So in this context, it doesn't mean conquered, but it means like to reaches or attain. So yeah, so because it is a conjugated verb. So yeah, let's move on. Hus in himmele, dar quemit, immo hilfa, hilfa, kinuok. What is this? So this is house in heaven. There comes him, but like immo, that's like dative, right? So him comes, you know, it's, you know, that's the thing with the inflected case system, you know, it kind of implies what's it called, prepositions, you know. But anyway, comes to him, help enough. So if we were to translate that literally, so if you were to do a nicer translation, to be like, their help comes to him enough, or help enough comes to him, or whatnot. Anyway, so a literal translation, yeah. So there we go. Let's move on. Okay, here, let's read this. Pediu ist dürft Michel allero manno welihemo. Welihemo. Okay, what did I just read? Okay, so P diu is actually a combination of two words of P related to B, like by, like around and whatnot. And diu is actually like the word the, but like it's in the I believe it's in the neuter instrumental. I mean, hang on, I need to check on that. And we're back, and I was right. Yeah, this is the neuter instrumental. It's like saying the, but like the instrumental, it's like it's used like how something is done and something like that. So, but in this context, this term here means like since or because, whatnot. So it's like since. Ist is. Durft means need. Michel is great. And then we have all of these are in the three words here. They're actually all in the plural genitive. Yeah. So it's like saying of all men each, whatnot. But I guess a more more natural way of English translation would be something like of all each man, but then again that's implying that these are singular or whatnot. But anyway, so just to be true to the grammar, whatnot, of all men each. Yeah. So what I noticed too in this sentence is that since is need great, of all men each. A cleaner way to translate this, instead of being very literal, would be to insert the word there. Like since there is great need, of all men each and whatnot. So that would be better, but let's stay true to the like what is actually there, right? I mean, of course, there's a balance to be made where how literal do you become? Because thing is, if you're too literal, the only people that would understand the text are people who know the language, right? So let's plow on through. Okay, das in es sin mord kispanne. What's going on? Okay, so this one I had a little difficulty with, but let's try it anyway. So das is that. In it is a preposition to mean into, but it can also be the plural dative to mean like them. So like to them. So like them. S is the is a genitive singular of neuter. So it's like saying of it or its. So it's like saying of it or its, like that. So of it, seen in Old English, not Old English, Old High German, it can mean like to be, because like in modern German, sein, but it can also mean or as well as it can also mean like seiner, like his. And the best of my translation is that so that them of it, his mind, muot meaning mind, or it could mean spirit, courage, or whatnot, but of his mind. Kispanne, that is of a verb to mean to urge on, and it takes the genitive. So to urge, to urge on. And the thing is, because it takes the genitive, I would think this here is actually the quote unquote object that is for this verb here. So if we were to really word this around, so it'd be his mind to urge on. Well, sorry, I shouldn't put a to there, because this is not in the infinitive. This is what I speculate to be in the subjunctive, right? So anyway, so his mind urge on of it, you know, and you know, like of what, you know, and it's just like then we have here in, which is referring to like to them, as in like all men and whatnot. The reason that this would not be like a preposition to be into, otherwise muot, muot here would actually be in the dative, which it isn't. This is in the what I think is in the nominative. So yeah, let us carry on. And let's translate this one now. So we have enti hella fuyer harto vise. Okay, how do we do this now? Okay, so we got enti, which means and. We got hella fuyer, which means hell. Well, literally hellfire, but you could also translate it as hell's fire. Harto. It's like you could translate it as very much. It's an adverb, with the, adding that o there, like hard, then o, and then harto. Like I think it's of like meaning like hard, but like as an adverb for like, so in this context very much. And we say, I've done a lot of research. I in a lot of thinking into this and research and whatnot, and I've come to the conclusion that this is a subjunctive conjugation of the verb wisen, meaning to show, to guide, right? So in this sorry about that. This is so to show, to very much show. Show what? We're going to find out. That's pretty much how you translate this part. Because the thing is, the subject of the clause here is fire, right? And it's going to show what? So it's going to, yeah. So let's move on. And so we have our sentence here. Let's translate. So we have peches pina. So that's literally hell's punishment or pain, if you will. But we're talking about hell here, right? So dar putit der satanas altist. Okay, so hell's punishment. Dar can mean there or where, but the literal translation would be there. Putit means offers. So and we have der. It's the nominative masculine the, like definite article, but it can also be used as a relative pronoun, like to say who. Right? So Satana, so who, Satan, Satan, and it says altest, and that's oldest. Yeah. So this is in the genitive, so hell's punishment. This could be translated as, alternatively, this could be translated as where. So hell, so, but it could also be there depending on the context. But anyway, so so hell's punishment there offers who, Satan, oldest. Another way of wording this around would be something like there, Satan, who oldest offers, or Satan, who offers oldest, or what have you. But it's always good to be literal with this. So there offers who's Satan, oldest. Yeah, that makes sense. Satan, oldest. So it's like, yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on to this one. So hesan lauk. What does this mean? So hesan, it can mean a number of things. It can mean like to be called. It can mean like to command or whatnot. So the origin of this, the later descent of this is like heisan. So like ich heiße, your name, right? So hesan lauk so mak hukan sa diu. So let's get to it. So hesan means to be called. Lauk, which means flame. So means like so, or if you will, thus. mak comes from the verb magan, which means like how we say today in English, or can, when if you're able. Hukan, that is cognate, or hukan, that's actually cognate to Old English hujan, meaning to think. But in this context, it means to think of. So think of, and sa diu, it's like that's a preposition meaning like to. Diu, that's the it's like the word the, but like it's in the instrumental neuter, so it's like that. Think of, to that. That's my best translation for that. But moving on. And so we got sorgen drato der sich suntigen ways. Alright, how do we translate this? So sorgen, this is the infinitive, so have sorrow, drato means like greatly, der sich uns suntigen ways, it's like who himself sinful knows. Yeah, I know that this here is referring to a some singular or whatnot, because this is in the singular. This is third person or first person conjugation of like wissan, meaning to know. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you're new, and if you really like the channel, please become a patron at my Patreon page down below. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.